Hi, my name's Dee and welcome to Untitled Tarot. Now this is a reading for the full moon in a Sagittarius / lunar eclipse for June the 5th, and this is a general reading that's looking at the interplay of energies that are around each sign. The way that they are embodied in my reading is the top row is seen as the archontic masks of the gods, those things that are trying to keep us separated from our divine self, and the bottom row of my cards are the actual gods, those beings who are trying to lift us up and reconnect us with the divine. Now, being 15 degrees of Sagittarius, so it's a midpoint degree, so right smack bang in the middle of the sign of the guru. So I think there might be quite a lot of, there's been an emphasis on a lot of the astrological movements recently, aspects I should say, about seeking out truth and personal truth. And the full moon in Sagittarius probably leaves us a little bit of a trap that we can be very, very assured in our truth. Now, I'm not going to discuss the astrology too much because I've already posted on the Facebook group, link down below in the description, at least 2 videos about this full moon. The first 2, Razalila Healing and Ksenia Moore. I recommend watching both of those. They can explain aspects of this full moon far better than I can. Now, this is a bulk introduction. There'll be a timestamp down below as well, so that you can watch more than one. And I recommend that you watch more than one. You want to watch your sun sign, obviously, but your rising sign as well, especially if you know what house Sagittarius is in for from your rising sign. And your moon doesn't go amiss, certainly not with a full moon reading. So 15 degrees Sagittarius. Now, this full moon is a penumbral lunar eclipse, which means the Earth's shadow just slightly touches the edge of it, but it is nevertheless an eclipse, and therefore will have an effect at least a week beforehand and a week after is what I've heard to start off with, because it does get superseded by an upcoming solar eclipse. But eclipses effects can be a long time, and full moon eclipses or lunar eclipses are very much about bringing things to an ending and completion of things, but they are also abrupt changes. You can't necessarily always know how an eclipse is going to manifest apart from change. Change is definite. Now, this eclipse forms a T-square to Mars and Neptune in Pisces. Mars is confused in Pisces at the moment. It's coming up to its conjunction with Neptune, where it gets a chance of being doused by the massive ocean that Neptune is. But it also, to me, represents action regarding your dreams and action regarding spirituality if you don't allow your Martian flame to be doused. Now, the T-square to Mars, and less so to Neptune, but still including, basically it's a very challenging aspect, but it does give a potential for success. Now, what I'm even more interested in is the fact that this is less than 1 degree off from the galactic center. So the day after these videos are released, I should be releasing my lunar galactic downloads, where we've got the galactic center download energy coming through the moon, but under the power of a full moon. This lines up immediately with the Great Attractor, which is a force out in the universe which is pulling multiple galaxies after it, including our own. It's been observed, as in seen that the galaxies are being pulled, but it's not been observed in and of itself, so it's indicating that it's very, very, very far away. But to be demonstrating an effect over multiple galaxies indicates, well, quite a lot of power. And of course, every time that we conjunct with the galactic center, the Great Attractor is right behind it. So it may be that just as the moon translates the galactic center energy, the galactic center may well be translating the energy of this Great Attractor, whatever it is. Now I'm going to read, I think I'm going to read the inside degree. What really got me was the Omega symbol, and I found a document with all the Omega symbols on them. I have yet to find out what the Omega symbols are, but it is a magician's wand sprouting golden leaves. What we set into motion now, as long as it is an attempt to exert our power, exhibit our power in a positive way, I would add, then that will bring some harvest to us. It may not bring the full harvest. You know, this wand might be sprouting golden leaves from it, but you wanted to grow an entire forest. So, you know, it's depends what scale you're wanting to work on. But if you wanted golden leaves, then you've got them. Now, I'm going to read out from Inside Degrees, Sagittarius 16, because 15 degrees something is the 16th degree of Sagittarius. So it's a man sharing sheep, practical fortitude and resiliency to keep finding a way to do it, to keep discovering how to get through the deepest quandaries, the greatest karmic traps. Ingenious and resourceful, paying attention to the cues, going to get it right. You're involved within a path which requires discipleship or apprenticeship, learning the ropes, building up fresh capacity in this lifetime to scale the heights. But you remain preoccupied and absorbed within honest tasks. A pervasive conviction grows and forms of how it really is. You're willing to take every step to reach a far goal and attentive to what is really there. A throwback to the old ways of a rural past, oddly comfortable in adopting forms and moving through phases and taking on the worlds. The journeyman knows the ways of the journey and gathers Earth's wisdom in small bundles, knowing how to be there when it counts. So that packs a lot into it, especially considering the state of the world, the state of the economy, the state of America at the moment. And there was one other degree, the Azoth symbol, which was thoughts being exchanged by many people over great distances. So there is that wonderful sense of community, which is reinforced by that inside degree that I read out to start off with. Now, housekeeping, like I said, there's the Facebook group down below, page, sorry. But the important thing is that page has an inbox. So if you're wanting to approach me for a personal reading, feel free. That's one of the ways you can do it. There's also a Twitter down below. I would very much like if you would comment and give me feedback on the reading. I've been doing these Full Moon Gods at Play readings for a while, so I'll be interested to see what you actually think of them and what you think of the spread and the how it's all put together. And also I try and respond to all of the comments. Thank you very much for everyone who's commented so far and everybody who has subscribed. I'm a young channel. I'm 8 months old, I think. I'm 8 months old now. And every subscriber helps. Your next reading obviously will be that Lunar Galactic download. This month I am still to do my starseed guidance. I've done, new thing, I've done Chinese zodiac readings this month as well. So I've done the 12 Western signs and the 12 Chinese signs, so that's well worth a look. Mars conjunct Neptune later on in the month, and the second Jupiter-Pluto conjunction, this time with Jupiter in retrograde. I'm not even sure if Pluto might be in retrograde. Yeah, it is. So both of those in retrograde this time, so that's towards the end of the month. I think that's everything. Now, as I said, you can ask a question before this reading. It's not really a spread that is designed to provide you with an answer like some of my other spreads are, but you can ask a question if you want. Take a moment, think about all the questions around you. You've heard me say this before. Pick one of them, focus on it. Be aware of all of them, because the cards will answer what they want. Right, that's it. So let me bring up the cards. Okay, Capricorn, you have an interesting assortment of energies for you with this full moon, the lunar eclipse. We have Apollo with clarity, Prometheus with altruism, Inanna with seduction, the Harai with time, Pomona with plenty, and Persephone herself, all as the forces that are working against you, the archontic masks of the archons pretending to be gods but doing their best to keep us away from our divine self. So what I'm tempted to understand just from that top row is that you may be given an understanding of something which is not entirely correct and not entirely true, and you will be put into a position where you feel more than willing to try and assist somebody in something where they may not actually need the assistance, or they may not actually benefit from the assistance. And it's quite possible that that second part is the bit that's true. But it's all very urgent, it's all very immediate, but also it seems really quite immature. And what Pomona is saying is that there's something where Pomona is also giving that urgency with the Harai of you need to act now. It's like you need to prune the branch now. But she's indicating some form of preparation that is not worth it. Whatever this understanding that you are given, and this sense of either somebody doing you a good turn or the requirement for you to do somebody a good turn, is erroneous. Simple as that. Now, on your side, we have a far better selection of gods. And remember, these represent to me the true gods, or the energies that are lifting you up and trying to bring you closer to that spiritual union. We have Psyche with sacred union, Thor with action, Gwabankex with wrath, Charon with transition, Shilina with gateways, and Baba Yaga with authenticity, and then finally Hephaestus. So Hephaestus says there's work involved here, but with this sacred union, there is some form of partnership coming around, and there is some form of sense of trust that is required for you. With something that is not this clarity, this understanding. It's, yes, action is required, but it has to be action that respects you and respects all those around you. The angel energy over this, we have the angel prince of the West with, I create the reality around me with thoughts of pure love and goodness. Now, what Gwabankex is telling me is the one thing that is important to her as a nurturing nature goddess is that she is respected. And if she is not respected, that's when you get your hurricanes and your earthquakes and your droughts or your monsoons or cyclones, typhoons, whatever. So yes, you have to take action towards some form of sacred union. Now, with it being sacred union, I'm really thinking, one, with the story of Psyche, it's about overcoming doubts. But two, is it the marriage of the divine masculine and feminine within yourself, or, you know, the marriage of the conscious you and your shadow, or working a sort of marriage, which is probably the wrong word, with your inner child, and being able to parent it in the way that enables the adult you to excel. But gateways will be open to this. Gateways will appear to this transition, to this union, which is going to a new level. And I do think that this, if this is with another person, organisation, new job, whatever, then that union means that you won't necessarily be able to do that seemingly altruistic act. So, interestingly, you could interpret that as if you are applying for a job but then decide not to because somebody else is applying and let them have it. No, You apply for that job and that, stop shaking the table. You apply for that job and let the best person win. You know, because gateways will be open through this. You have to be authentic. You have to state your case, and not just if it's something that you want, it's something that you want. And conversely, if it's something that you don't want, then you don't want it. But make sure that you are acting with respect and that you are treated with respect. And I think in this top situation, where there's this urgency of act now, then there isn't necessarily that level of respect there. So that will be the key. That will be the clue for you to go, oh yeah. Because what Persephone here is saying is that somebody is getting tied to something through their own actions and through their own immaturity. And Pomona is saying, you know, you can end up pruning at the wrong point, at the wrong time. You can end up getting rid of something at the wrong place. So, yes, that clarity that you are given is a real call to action, and it's like you want to take charge. And again, this the fact that there's that urgency, it's a decision has to be made immediately, but somebody or something is laying plans either to get hold of the ships that are coming in for you, or that you are a tool for them to get their own ships to come in. And this, it's almost like this altruistic act appears like wish fulfillment for somebody else, but it's just not. You know, I feel like I should put more words there, but there is no more words to put in that sentence. It's just, it's certainly not, it may be a wish fulfillment for them, but it does you no good whatsoever. Because the transition that you have coming up, right, this respect, you need to be in a nurturing and a nurtured role. That's the respect that you are requiring, not the go out and act, because the action has to come from yourself here. 9 of Pentacles with Thor with action. The action has to be an action that you decide that you are wanting to do to bring about this form of union. Now, this union is covered with confusion. So when you have a choice between something that looks clear and simple and clear cut and another thing that looks really, really, really confusing and you don't know which way is up with it, go for that one. Go for the confusing one. Because, right, Ace of Cups for the gateways that Sheila Nagig open up through you being true to yourself. And what is interesting is, yes, Hephaestus with the work, there is a harvest for you to create here. Not necessarily receive yet, but there's a harvest for you to create. And so that really implies the same sort of situation that we have here, with somebody knows that you're going to be creating a harvest and they want a piece of it, if not all of it, with that seduction going to the 3 of Wands. Now, you have to be acting with respect and in situations where you receive that respect. And coming out of that, we've got Ael with fame and renown and Rahael with love and submission. So it's almost like you are taking an action of yourself. It's an active surrender to something, but not an active surrender to this altruistic act, which is asked of you, but of an act that you are doing purely from yourself. Thor was the god of thunder. With thunder comes lightning. This is this action is something that wells up from within you, and you're going, that's what I'm doing. Even though you might not entirely understand why, but you know it's along the lines of bringing you into union with something sacredly. You know, so yeah, maybe not so much a new job, but certainly some form of mystical initiation, maybe a new lover, maybe a dedication to something that you have flirted with in the past, and you suddenly go, no, this is what I'm going to do. So if that means anything to you, Capricorn, please do comment down below. Hopefully it will, because this transition, I didn't say, this transition here that you're going into, that Shilina Gig opens, is clarified by the sun, and that is a really triumphant and happy, joyous sun card there. So yeah, it's going. Sharon is the ferryman on the River Styx. So yeah, you're going to go through that hangman time and that confusing time. But there is a bonus here for you. If you take that underworld journey and you start this action all of your own. So like I say, comment down below, press the like and subscribe button, and your next reading will be the Lunar Galactic Downloads, which hopefully will be out on Saturday. Cheers.